way smarter than any mobile device has ever been, and super easy to use. This is what iPhone is.
We're analyzing the second feature of the code of Steve Jobs' voice that makes him a compelling speaker, would make you a compelling speaker as well. We're going to use this scientific acoustic prosodic study. You can attribute the success of the product launches and thereby the success of Apple as a whole to his ability to communicate these ideas. What exactly were the features of his voice that did that? In this breakdown, we're diving into the second feature of his charisma, which is the loudness pattern used by Steve Jobs. Now, what we should see in these loudness patterns is high and variable intensity levels. This is a masterclass on charisma. So Steve's performance is very different though than Tim Cook's. So we're gonna take a look at both of those in Tim Cook's first keynote as Apple CEO. And you're gonna just see exactly how charismatic Steve Jobs was compared to the now CEO of Apple, Tim Cook. It's a stark difference. Tim's an incredible CEO, but Steve Jobs is on a different level of charisma. Take a look at it, guys. Let me know what you think.
Here it is.
Okay, so that's a little bit softer, and here it is.
No.
That's fine.
Actually, here it is, but we're going to leave it there for now. So, before we get into it,
okay, listen to that just a second. Listen to how he says, we're going to leave it there for now, and he kind of trails off in loudness, and then right away to get attention back from the audience, because there's this fine line in very charismatic speakers on stage where they've almost lost control of the audience because of the fanaticism, but they have this incredible ability with the loudness of their voice and these abrupt, more loud tones to pull the audience back in. That's exactly what Steve Jobs does here pretty brilliantly, at least from my perspective. It's right before this.
Here it is, but we're going to leave it there for now.
Leave it there for now.
So,
and then he's pulling you right back in.
Before we get into it,
and the audience is still,
let me talk about a category of things, the most advanced.
He even does it there again.
Let me talk
and
about
then he'll go a little bit louder.
Advanced phones are called smartphones, so they say. And they typically combine a phone plus some email capability, plus they say it's the internet, sort of the baby internet, into one device, and they all have...
I really want to talk about the implied obviousness tonality that he's using a lot, but I'm going to save that for another video. If you guys want to hear more about the specific tonal phrases and patterns that Steve Jobs and other charismatic speakers use that you can use too, make sure that you subscribe, like this video so that I know that you actually like it, and so that I can grow my channel, please. And then also, we have a PDF that can teach you how to close more deals. It's not going to have all of this tonal stuff because I'll really need to make videos that you are able to buy from me soon. They will be out, if not out during this, and you'll see exactly what I mean, and I can teach you exactly how to do this. But if you just want to close more deals instantly, just by reading a piece of paper, a PDF, that's for free. Download that, link in the description. On another video, we'll talk about more of the specific tonal patterns that Steve Jobs is using. But for now, we're just focused on how does he vary the loudness of his voice.
These plastic little keyboards on them. And the problem is that they're not so smart and they're not so easy to use. So if you kind of make a Business School 101 graph of the smart axis and the easy to use axis, phones, regular cell phones are kind of right there. They're not so smart.
He just does this so well,
not
man.
so
He's
easy to use.
He's constantly going between loud and kind of loud.
But smartphones are definitely a little smarter, but they actually are harder to use. They're really complicated. Just for the basic stuff, people have a hard time figuring out how to use them.
And he's a little lower now.
Well, we don't want to do either one of these things.
Okay, so you hear this in these like in between just one word or syllable at a time. He'll go like louder and softer in the same word. The extremely charismatic people do this. You emphasize syllables with the loudness and the pitch fluctuation, and that's, I mean, Steve Jobs he's continuing to put on a masterclass in performance of charisma and getting you on his side for product launches. And obviously they have product that backed it up, right? But man, this is just so fascinating to me.
Frog product that is way smarter than any mobile device has ever been, and super easy to use. This
super easy to use. So you said super easy to use. This is what iPhone is. So just like when you pause, people will remember the thing that you said before and after, most likely, or they'll start paying attention. If you do the same thing with fluctuations of your voice or with the fluctual loudness of your voice, the same thing. So watch how he does this before he drops into, say, iPhone, because he wants iPhone to just be like, that's the star of the show, right? I'm just drawing your attention to the iPhone. He's going to go loud and then drop down as he says iPhone, just to get your attention on that word.
That is way smarter than any mobile device has ever been, and super easy to use. This is what iPhone is.
This is what iPhone is. This is so freaking good.
We're going to reinvent the phone.
So that's loudness. We're going to keep watching this, but let's go on to the next point from this study. We need to just check if Cook, does he speak with varying loudness?
Time to have worked here for almost 14 years, and I am very excited about this new role.
Very excited. Oh, geez, dude, this is night and day different.
I want to especially welcome you to
Also, dude, especially, how do you feel about people that say especially? Be honest. Put it in the comments how you feel about them, and I won't tell you how I feel about them. But if you say especially, you can get help. What do you say, especially or especially?
Especially.
There's an S, not an X in that, right? Yeah, especially. You can get help. It can be better than it is.
Campus. This campus serves as a kind of second home for many of us. And so it's sort of like inviting you into our home. In particular, I want to welcome you to this room that we call our
The loudness of his voice is it's on the lower end of the loudness, and it kind of fluctuates on that lower end, but not nearly as much as Steve Jobs' loudness fluctuates. Dude, that's such a great measure of charisma. Holy cow. Okay, we've got intonation patterns. He's fluctuating at the high register of his fundamental frequency. You can see it actually way more in the second clip that we just showed. He'll go up and down, right? Then we've got loudness. He's going back and forth between loud and kind of loud. The most interesting part about this to me is that anyone can learn how to be persuasive and influential. I built a career and helped build a massive company off of these ideas. The fact that anyone can learn how to be persuasive and influential, what that means though is it has to be systematized. Key things that make everyone more persuasive and influential when they apply them to their own voice and the patterns with which they speak.